This is Gemara Chulin, Daf Yud Ches, and we're holding on Yud Zayin Beis. We're about 10 lines from the bottom. The first word on line is Ruchasa Amri Mishay Derava Amri, and we continue with discussing different bedikois. Ravina v'Ravacha Brei Derava Have Yasvi Kamei Deravashi. They were sitting in front of Ravashi. Aisu Sakan Kamei Deravashi. A knife was brought in front of Ravashi Lebedika to check the knife. Ravashi said to Ravacha, the son of Rava, Bidka, check the knife. Bidaka tofra va'abisra va'talasa ruchasa. He examined it on his fingernail, on his flesh, and on all three sides. Amar le yasher, similar to Yasher Koyach. Chenam Rav Kahana, Rav Yema Amar Atufra Babisra. Chenam Rav Kahana said the same thing. Another story, which is in a shofar kert. Rav Yema Amar says Rav Yema Atufra Babisra Sricha. You did have to check it on the flesh and on your nail. But Atlas Ruchasa, he argued and said, Lo Yitzricha, that you do not have to check it on. Excuse me. The Gemara doesn't ask kasha. This is Rav Yemar proving his point. And he says, did Rav Zera not say in the name of Shmuel, Libein Sakin, Vishachat? But if someone heated up a knife and shechted with it, Shchitas like Sheira. Why? Shachiduda Kaidan Libuna. Gemara we had a few days ago that the chido, the sharpness, comes before the heat. So what's the raya of a kashalon and wishveritas? Yoika stadim. Very good. At the first moment, what about the sides that heated up? Armina, and we said, Beis Shchita Mervach Ravach. And we explained over there the place of the Shchita spreads apart, and the sides don't do anything. So what's the raya? It says the Gemara 4 lines to the bottom. It spreads apart, and therefore we do not have to check the sides of the blade, and that's why he's holding. You don't have to check tlasa ruchasa, all three sides. Amar Rav Huna bar Rav Katina Rav Shimon Lakish, 3 lines to the bottom. Shalosh pigimois heim. There are 3 notches that we have to know about. Pegimas Etzema Pesach. There's a notch in the bones of a carbon Pesach. Pegimas Oizen Abachar. A notch in the ear of a Bachar. And Pegimas Mum Bekachim. A notch that makes a mum in Kachim. And Rav Chisda adds on Amar. Af Pegimas Sakin. The knife of Shchita. Vedach. Says the Gemara, the first Amaira. Why didn't he add on that this is also a Pegima, the knife? But Chulin like he wasn't discussing Chulin, and that's why he didn't say about the knife. For all of them and all of them, Pigimasam Kidei, Pigimas Mizbeach, the notch has to be something that would create a Pigima on the Mizbeach. And as we turn over to today's Daf, Yechesam and Aleph, the Gemara says, and what is that? And what is the size of a notch that would create a Pigima on the Mizbeach? V'kama p'gimas hamizbeach, says the Gemara, kidei shetachgar b'tzi poiren, enough that the fingernail would be stopped by it. Says the Gemara, really? You're telling me this teeny little notch would mess up the mizbeach? Meizvei frek the Gemara, v'kama p'gimas hamizbeach. What is the size of the notch that would mess up the mizbeach? Rashbi oimer. Says the Hilig Yeshim Yechai Tefach. Rose ben Yaakov oimer kizayis. So how are you telling me that just a little bit that when your finger rubs over it will cause it to stop? That's significantly smaller, definitely than a tefach or a kizayis. Explains the Gemara like Kasha. Ha bisida, ha ba'avna. One is the lime, and one is the actual stones. The actual stones have to be shalem, and therefore, and the lime that covers it, that's the shear of a tefach or a kizayis. The stone itself could even be missing a smaller part. Says the Gemara, Omer Avuna, Hai Tabcha butcher Deloisar Sakina Kami Chacham. That didn't show his knife to Talmud Chacham. Mishamtina Le, we put him into Chayrim. Varava Amar, Mavrina Le, we remove him from his job as being a butcher. Umachrizina on Abisra Ditrefu. Not only do you remove him from his post, we announce all his meat is treif. It says the Gemara Bavaloi Pligi, these two shitais are not arguing. Kam Kishanimsa Sakina Yafe, Kam Bishloinimsa Sakina Yafe, meaning he didn't show his knife to the Chacham. And now what? Did you actually find there to be an issue or not? Ravina Amar, so even more Chamar, Hecha Doloinimsa Sakina Yafe, Mimas Mesas Lei Biparta. We smear the knife with excrement that what? Ta'afilu li'akum. Nami loy mizavnina, and says Ravina, even more chamar. Not only are we going to say he's not fit, and not only are we going to announce everything is treif, we make his knife into a matziv that he's not going to even be able to shecht for goyim. Says the Gemara story, a story about what we just said. Utabacha Tulosar Sakina Gamei Derava Barchinina Shamte. They put him in Chayrim Vavre Vachuz Abisa the Treifai, and they announced that his meat was not kosher. Reikloi Marzoch of Ravashi Legabei. Marzoch Ravashi came to visit. Amar Lahu Rav Chanina. Rav Barchinina said to them, Laine Rabba Bimilsa. Can you investigate what's going on? Maybe you'll figure out that the sheikh was actually good. Titalu bei tafle. Why? Because these young children, they felt bad that they removed the sheikh from his job, and they felt bad. What about his meshacha? What about his kids? So Badker Ravashi, the Sakina Ravashi, checked his knife. B'nimsa yafa v'achshrei, and they said, Lamaisa, it's going to be kosher. Amar le marzuchav l'chayshmar l'saba. Are you not worried for the honor of Saba, Rabba Bar Chinina, that removed him from his post? Why are you worrying just to say that now he's kosher? Amar le of course I'm worried about him, but he's the one that told me to do this. And the Gemara concludes part A of today's shiur. Amar Rabba Huna Shein Telusha, a detached tooth. Tzipoirin Telusha, detached nail. Mutter Lishchait Ba Lichat Chila. Ay v'anantanan chutz mimago kasir v'amagira v'hashinayim v'hatzipoirin, teeth and nails. Now what? You're not allowed to shech the meishet chaynkin because they choke. Says the Gemara, shein like kasha. Why not? Ha bechada, ha betarti. The question is, our Rav Huna said a single tooth. The Mishnah is talking about two teeth. Tzipoirin, not tzipoirin like kasha. Why not? Ha betelusha, ha bemechuberes. Rav Huna is talking about if it's detached. The Mishnah is talking about if it's attached. That's going to be the chilik, whether it's going to be the chatzchila to shecht with these items. And we continue with the Mishnah, the second to last Mishnah on the bottom of Yudches Amud Aleph. Ha-shoichet b'magol, mamish, a continuation of the previous Mishnah that discussed shechting with this sickle. Says the Gemara, K'tir b'derech halichasa. If you shechted with the sickle in a forward direction, b'shamei paisa v'sel machshirim, v'mechliku shineo harehu kisakin. But if you smooth out the teeth of the sickle, then it gets the same din as a knife. Amar Rav Chebar Rabba Rav Yechon Rav Sheikh Shiru Beis Hillel Lo Yechshiru El Tara Midei Neveila. Even though Beis Hillel said it's still kosher, it's only kosher. It's not Neveila. Aval Ba'achila, you're not allowed to eat. Asura v'shechta with this sekel. Amar Ravashi taking him taking Tani Beishamei pois levisel machshirim. V'lo go Tani Beishamei ois levisel matirim. So he said, Hillel's not saying it's mutter. They're saying it's not nevela. L'tameich listen Beishamei mitam yisel matarin. El pois machshirin v'oisin matarin. Chad emil sehi. So says the Gemara, the raya falls off. We don't necessarily have a raya to the din that you can't eat it. It's just not a nevela. The Gemara doesn't necessarily fall off the teretz. We just don't have a raya. Says the Mishnah, if you shecht within the ring, now is where we're going to start getting abyssal chulindik. Within the ring, we are referring to the last bit right before the top of the trachea, there is a tabas. The tabas gedaila, the cartilage over there, the very top of the esophagus and the trachea. If you shecht within that tabas, v'shayir ba mole hachot al panei kula, and you leave a hair's breadth along the entire thing, then shchitas like sheira. You have to leave this hair's breadth along the whole area. And the truth is, we'll as we go along, we'll definitely have more and more pictures b'siyata d'shmaya. But even for the moment, let's try to pull up a quick picture. Okay, here we go. Here we see a nice picture of it's a little bit too big. 1 second. Let's make that a drop smaller. Again, we're going to have to dive deeper and deeper into the different parts of the animal. Here you see a nice, let's start over here. You see the esophagus, you see the trachea, and then the tabas ikona is the cartilage of the trachea, and you see over here the tabas gedoila, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about if you shecht within the tabas gedoila, said the Mishnah, and you're shayir b'molei achlot, then we have a machlekes where that's going to be kosher. Says the Gemara Ravu Shmuel, back into the Gemara 1 second. Our Gemara moved a little bit. Here we go. Ravu Shmuel, Damri Terva, you 4 lines on the bottom. Malachi Rav Yosef Rav Yehuda, Havini Malichot Alpi Ruba, Rav Yosef Rav Yehuda Le'amer. Ela betabas gedoila home akefas. It's called akana. Only tabas gedoila. Why? Because it surrounds the entire trachea. Aval b'shar tabot loi. But the rest, the other rings further down the trachea, those would not be valid as they do not surround the entire circumference. Frek to Gemara really b'shar tabot. Slav atana Rav Yehuda Omer. Rav Yehuda says as we turn over to Yeches mebeis hasheiche b'shar tabois. Avi she'ein ma'akifos says kol hakana, even though they do not surround the entire kana. What's the halacha? Oilam ma'akifos says roiv hakana shchitas like sheira. It's going to be kosher, says the Gemara. But the Brisa continues with Megremes Psula. If you cut it slanted, it's possible. Hey, Rachlina ben Antignes al Megremes Shik Sheir. No, a slanted cut is yes kosher. What do we see, Klar? We see, Klar, that even if it's shechted on the lower rings of the trachea, it's still going to be kosher. Not like we just said. Explains the Gemara. Amar Rav Yosef Rav Yehuda Tarti Kamar. Rav Yehuda saying 2 things. Ravu Shmuel Savri Gavdei Bechada Baligdei Bechada. I've lo Amar Kamri. Ravu Shmuel said he did not say. Hachi Kamar Halacha Kamaisai Tabas Agidela Vein Halacha Kamaisai Vishar Tabois. So we go into a story 10 lines down. The first one is Vishar Tabois Kisalik. Rav Zira Achal Mugremes the Rav Ushmoli. If from an animal, when the shchita would be not within the limits of Rav and Shmuel, it was one of the lower rings. Amrile Lav Me'asrei. Rav Shmuel, that's why he's saying it's so good. Amr Leho Man Amr Reiser Chia Mikuli Alma. Come, Reiser Chia learns from anyone. Shamar Rav Yosef and Ikbit. Amr Aname Kuli Alma. Gamrinna, did I just learn this from anyone? What do you mean? I learned it from Rav Yehuda, who said even sveikas regarding which person said over is in question. Rav Yehuda would be very careful. He said everything over b'shmai. So says Rav Yosef, Rav Yehuda was so careful. Avadai could rely upon him in this case. The Amar, now the Gemara proves Rav Yehuda Barabba something mishmei the Rav something mishmei the Shmuel. In such a case, he's not sure if Rav Shmuel should matir nesvchar b'makshein mamchabor. That's proving that halacha is not our topic, but we see that he's very clear, saying everything over b'shmai. So says the Gemara, so why can't he not rely on Rav Yehuda? For Rav Zera Lesle, why? Nice in Allah of Chumrei Hamakim Shatza Misham Chomer ha'makom shalach l'sham. Says the Gemara, Rav Zir went to Eretz Yisrael, therefore he took on both the chumras of Eretz Yisrael and the chumras of Bavel. Amar Abaya, honey mili, mi Bavel le Bavel, Eretz Yisrael. When do we say you could take on both chumras? Is within Eretz Yisrael and within Bavel. Aval inami, Eretz Yisrael le Bavel. Aval mi Bavel Eretz Yisrael. You're upgrading. Kimu danan kaifina lo. Says the Gemara, since those in Bavel are kafuf to those in Eretz Yisrael, therefore in that case, when you go from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael, kavasayu, we go without what you do in Eretz Yisrael. Therefore, it makes sense that Rav Zera did like Eretz Yisrael and not at all like Bavel. Rav Ashi Amar Afilu Tem Bavel Eretz Yisrael. It's only when you can go back if your taita is not lachzar. Rav Zera and taita lachzar have a. Therefore, that's why he went with the shita of Eretz Yisrael. So says the Gemara, but one second. So we just seem to indicate that in Bavel, the minig was that he wouldn't eat the animal that it was shechted through one of the tabais, one of the lower rings of the esophagus. People came from Chuza, Amri, Amar Rav Zera, Mesheder Rav Nachman, Megremes is ksheira. Even a shechita on a lower ring is kosher. Amar le, nara, upashta. There are many places with its own dinim. At Eidach Hanami, it could be in that one particular place. That is what they did, but it's not going to be a kasha. Let's stop over here. We'll continue with more. Actually, no, let's go a little bit further. More shitais about where exactly on the trachea you have to do the incision. And just to point out, we're like very cursory discussing, this is like the $1 million kasha. You got to know where to shech the animal. So we're discussing, we have to know the exact point. Shimon Lakish said it's kosher to the point of the helmet. These are, in that picture that we had, I actually think you see the chuda de huma. Let's see if you do. Maybe I'm wrong. Yeah. You see over here, the koivea katan shafoi kuva, the slant of the helmet. The chuda, the kuva's helmet, again, different precise points within the esophagus. Says the Gemara, Kari alei, 1 second, where did our Gemara go? Here it is. Kari alei, Rav Yochanan said, Gisi, too much. They're shechli too far down. Amar Papi, Mishay the Rav Apaga Bechiti Treifa. Says Rav Papi, if you met the wheat kernels, then the animal is kosher. This is a certain point of the cartilage that will passel up the animal. So Ibai Leho Pagave Naga Behen. Is it talking about that you met that area on the esophagus and you touched it? What exactly is the paslos that we're referring to? It's my If you left over some of that, then the animal's going to be kosher. Amar Rav Ameimar Bar Mar Yenuka Have Kamei Have Kamei Rav Chia Berei Rav Avi of Amarli Shire Bechiti Kshira Amarli Ravina Rav Ashi Amarli Rav Shemin Misavra Ikloi Mar Zujal Aser V'Darash Shire Bechiti is going to be Kshira. In all these cases, we have all these different Amarayim that are holding that as long as you didn't go fully through, it's going to be kosher. Mar Rav Ashi Mar Paga Bechiti Kshira Shire Bechiti. It's going to be treifa. What's the halacha? With this we conclude. As we turn over to Yutesima Beis, says the Gemara, you know what the halacha is? The helchasa. And the halacha is Mishipua Kaiva Lamata. It's Kshira. V'hainu D'Shayir Bechiti. And that's going to be Shayir Bechiti. So let's just, before we call it a day, let's just pull this back up over here. This one picture that we're dealing with over here, the Shipua de Koiva. Again, we see that we're talking about the esophagus right at the neck of the animal, and the tabas gedola, shipua kaiva. You see these edges over here. That's going to be the area that's going to be kosher. Pick up from here, b'siyata dishmaya.